The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. Oh, man, you guys, it is Tuesday, January 6th, 2026. 1/6/26, you guys.
Yeah, the anniversary of your boys' insurrection.
Oh, yeah, the anniversary of the CIA ops. You're right. You're so right. You're so right.
The old CIA ops.
100% CIA ops, bro. That's been proven. That's been proven, Todd, beyond a reasonable doubt. So
by who?
You can't, huh?
Proven by who?
By tons of people. I can show you tons of footage too of different FBI and CIA, different individuals.
I'm sure. Yeah, it was all CIA. Yeah, that's what it was.
It was inside job. Nancy Pelosi.
Dude, step away from the Kool-Aid, bro.
Nancy Pelosi, your favorite, Todd. Your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She paid a guy to go into her office and take a shit on her desk.
Hey, you know, the best way to think that you're not a suspect is to you know what I'm saying, have something done to yourself. I've seen that happen plenty of times, Todd. Just saying.
Oh, bro, you need some help.
You know, it's all good, bro. God got my back, Todd. It's all right. You know what I mean? Yes. Today,
God's
though.
got your back. Is that what you just said?
Yep. God got my back, bro.
I think he did.
I'm solid.
Well, I guess he's got Santa Claus behind him too.
Yeah, I do. 100%. All day. Today, you guys, you're going to love this. It's National Cuddle Up Day.
Nice.
Cuddle
What
up.
are we doing here?
It's National Cuddle Up Day.
That's what I said. What are we doing here?
Yeah, that's what I'm. Well, you're supposed to be cuddling up with your pets, just so you know.
Oh,
Michael,
okay, perfect.
yeah.
I got 7 dogs, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There you go.
7 dogs?
7 dogs.
Man,
2 mini
wow,
horses, 20 chickens, and a goat.
Well, man.
You live on a farm?
I mean, he lives in
Middle
Florida.
of Tampa.
Yeah, he lives in Florida, bro. Almost everywhere is a farm in Florida.
No, it's not.
No. definitely not in the city of Tampa either.
No.
It's also National Technology Day today, you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As we're using it.
That's
obviously,
right.
every day.
That's right. That's right. It's also, let's see, it's National Shortbread Day.
Okay.
Not
like long breads.
as opposed to long breads, yeah, or even flat breads.
Or the tall breads.
Yeah, tall breads, yep, all of that. You know what I mean? Also inbreds. And there's also
Yeah, that's a lot of the Republican Party.
they're stop it, Todd. Stop it. It's also National Bean Day, Todd. Shout out to beans.
Kind of bean. All beans?
All beans. Not just limited to lima beans. All beans. Beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat them, the more you toot.
The more you toot.
The more you toot, the better you feel.
There you go.
Beans are great for every meal, Todd.
Yeah.
All right.
Good protein.
Yes, that's
Keep
right.
you regular.
That's right. And on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Kick, Instagram, Facebook, as well as on our very own website, www.high9news.com. So welcome everyone join us from any one of those policy or any one of those platforms. Anyways, speaking of policy, man, I got something for you guys, because the marijuana industry's case against the new wholesale tax in Michigan moves forward after a judge rebuffs the AG's motion, you guys. That's right. Despite the new 24% wholesale tax on cannabis going into effect on January 1st, the industry's case against the state of Michigan is moving forward. Court of Claims Judge Seema Patel denied a motion from the Attorney General's office to reconsider her December ruling and tossed the case. On December 8th, Judge Patel denied a preliminary injunction from the Michigan Cannabis Industry Association to stop the wholesale tax, which is expected to financially constrain the already floundering industry from going into effect. But Patel did allow MICI's case to proceed on the grounds that the wholesale tax could circumvent the intent of the voter initiative law. The MICIA, an industry group representing 400 of the state's marijuana operators, had argued in its lawsuit that lawmakers passing the wholesale tax in October violated the state's constitution because the amendment was required to change the voter-approved Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act, better known as the MRTMA, either by voters at the ballot box or by at least 3/4 of the legislators. The new wholesale tax was written into House Bill 4951, which passed 78-21 in the Republican-led House and 19-17 in the Democratic-controlled Senate, short of the supermajority threshold in both chambers. Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed it as part of a broader road funding plan. But it's the intent of the law that Patel seems to be focused on, and whether voters intended to legalize adult use cannabis marijuana sales as a means to deter illicit market marijuana, you guys. But the question of the fact whether the 24% wholesale excise tax of the CRFTA interferes and conflicts with the purposes of the MRTMA. Patel wrote in her December 8th opinion in a quote, "Specifically, plaintiffs assert that the elaborate Proposify selected the 10% excise tax on retail sales to keep retail prices reasonable and to ensure the reduction of or elimination of the illicit market. Plaintiffs continue that experience has shown that if taxes on cannabis products are too high, purchasers continue to resort to the illegal market, undermining the entire purpose of cannabis legalization. This is not a legal issue, but a question of fact. The court must consider the intentions of the MRTMA drafters and the impact of the new wholesale excise tax on the purposes of the MRTMA." Patel reiterated this line of thinking in her Monday denial of the state's motion for summary disposition. And in a quote, they say, "It is not certain on this record whether the 24% wholesale excise tax will impact prices to the extent purchasers will be driven to the illicit cannabis market," Patel wrote in her January 5th opinion. "Discovery is required to examine how the tax will impact purposes of the MRTMA. This precluded granting summary disposition in plaintiff's favor, as well as a full grant summary disposition in defendant's favor. The court finds no palpable error in its judgment. A scheduling hearing will commence on January 13th as the case moves closer to trial." And in a statement, they say, "Today's decision represents a critical legal development and a win for Michigan voters and our industry," said Rose Tenafanal, MICIA spokesperson, said in a statement. And meanwhile, the MICIA is appealing Patel's earlier ruling to deny the injunction to the state's appeals court, and the appeal filed on December 23rd has not been reviewed yet by the court. The new wholesale tax on legal cannabis is already sending the industry into a tailspin days before it goes into effect, and Ann Arbor-based C3 Industries closed last month its 3,500 square foot grow operation in Weberville and eliminating 62 jobs, according to a worker adjustment and retaining notification filed with the state. Ankur Ragunta, co-founder and CEO, told Cranes that the business model is not sustainable under the new 24% wholesale tax. And in a quote, they say, "Unfortunately, we cannot operate the Michigan production facility profitably with the new wholesale tax going into effect," Rugna told Cranes. We warned many state legislators that this would be the likely impact if they passed the wholesale tax. But Marquette-based Higher Love, which operates 10 dispensaries as well as growing and processing facilities in the Upper Peninsula, announced it is being forced to lay off nearly 30% of its employees, citing the wholesale tax. And it's unclear how many employers are laid off, but Higher Love employs more than 200 people. And in a quote, this 24% wholesale tax will devastate Michigan's cannabis industry and undermine everything voters intended to accomplish, Traffinol said. Well. Looks like there may be some relief for Michiganders out there. But unfortunately, some of it is going to be too little too late. And I'm not sure if these jobs will actually come back, even if they reverse the tax. What do you guys have to say about this?
Yeah, I agree. It's tough to bring the jobs back once they're gone for sure.
Right.
And they think that a 24% increase in taxes isn't going to affect the industry. It's just the dumbest statement I've ever heard.
I know.
Right. And if they don't think it's going to push people to the black market, 24% is a big number.
It's a huge number, Todd.
When there's no taxes on any black market weed, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a big number, and it's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm. It's a big deal, Michael. What do you any thoughts on this, Michael? On this judge's judgment?
Yeah, well, number one, I think the judgment is great, right? To let them move forward with and actually challenge this, so they're actually looking at the will of the people and what the language of that amendment was in order to kind of thwart the legislature's authority. So I think that's great, number one, because a lot of times, especially in Florida, it seems that these judges are first and foremost against cannabis, and so any ruling that they can make that's against it, they'll do so if they can. So I think that, number one, is a great start. But I agree. Otherwise, everything with the taxation, and I mean, especially that increase in the jump overnight, not even a gradual increase. But I think it's ridiculous, and they continue to, tax a commodity that is something that has been sold on the black market forever, and they're trying to make an industry out of it, and they just don't understand the taxation and pricing is one of the highest driving factors as to whether or not someone's buying from a store or someone's buying from the black market. So
well said. I mean,
it's true. I mean, I think everybody wants safe, good, clean cannabis, but when you tax it this high, the cost is just out of control. $15-$20 for a joint.
This is the thing.
Stupid.
I think the average person that would buy weed on the streets thinks that their cannabis is probably just as clean, if not cleaner, than what's sold in stores. I don't think that the average person.
I don't know how they could think it's cleaner. How they could think it's cleaner. It's not going to be cleaner.
Well, because a lot of people will sell it all, bro. I grew this at home. I did this all myself, all organic. I fed it. None of those pesticides that all those big producers. 100% those discussions happen, Todd. 100%.
Are they really?
Hell yeah, bro. I used to be a dealer, bro. I know what I would tell people.
Dude, that was back in the day before cars and running water and shit.
Yeah, but people still wanted organic, bro. Organic, bro. Single source.
Yeah. I think it probably, depends on the person and are they getting it from someone that they've known for a long period of time?
Right.
I don't know if there's really many street sales of weed anymore, in the hood and things like that back in the day. Compared to now, I don't see there being a market on it where you go into the trap neighborhood, wave down a dude to give you a dime bag. So
a gram, right.
I mean, do they even still sell dime bags? I mean, because the price of cannabis has dropped so much, bro, that like if you get a dime bag, I mean that could be an eighth in some markets instead of like a half a gram like what it used to be.
$10 for
and what it should be.
That's a pretty good deal.
That's what I'm saying. That's
right. Hey, that's Florida sales.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could. Right? It definitely could, without a doubt. But yeah, I think those conversations are definitely still happening without a doubt. And you know, I've seen wholesalers. You know what I'm saying? You know, bulk sellers. They're like, oh man, yeah, bro, this stuff is super clean. It's organic. Da 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 da. No pesticides. Da 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 da. You know, just because they're saying it doesn't mean that it's necessarily true, Todd. But the fact that they're saying it and they're not going to test it themselves, I mean, they're going to believe who they're buying from because they feel like they have some type of relationship with them.
You know, I mean, they rationalize that relationship. They want the weed. They know the guy. So, he says it's clean. Must be clean.
Must be clean.
Honestly, I would have more confidence in my grower telling me, my personal grower that I know or knew, or dealer that I knew that's not getting it from Cali or whatever, that it's probably, if he says it's organic, I trust in that versus a multi-million-dollar corporation who we know is remediating, blasting it through the infrared at the end, and putting everything that they can in there to get, you know, bigger buds for their bottom lines. So I think it really depends on that relationship with the person and their dealer or grower. Yeah, I know I'd rather grow my own than buy it from the shop.
I think you're 100%
right. But how many
right.
times have you been in the situation where your guy is out, so you got to go to another guy, and you'll believe that guy too because you just want the weed? You know, it's all your personal vice validation, right? And you're you know.
Hey, you know, I don't think you're wrong about that, Todd, but it just is reality, though.
I agree.
I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
That's why, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we see the reports out of California all the time with the, you know, the bugs on it and stuff like that they say. So, you know, and we get that here even from the MMTCs. You know, people are super scrutinizing it or, you know, looking at it under their scope and being like, look at all the bugs on it or whatever. Yep. So, you know, it's a plant.
Look at all that PM.
No matter what, it's probably a lot safer than most of our foods. So,
without a doubt.
Yeah, it's funny because back in the early days of the cannabis legalization here in Nevada, there were numerous meetings, and because I'm in the lab business, obviously I went to all of these lab meetings, and you know, they were forming the regulations here in Nevada that we were all a part of. And several times in several meetings, you know, there was this patient advocacy group that would always show up, and they would always say at every meeting, I've been smoking weed for 40 years and I'm not dead. Yeah. Why do we have to test it?
I mean, in all fairness, they're right. They're right to some degree about that.
They're right in some aspect. Yeah. But when something is such a mass consumable, you know, product, and it becomes, you know, we've made this into a consumer good, right? We've made this into a commodity that, you know, people can exploit, and people, like you just said, they can pour shit on it just to make it better, bigger, stronger, faster, right?
Yep.
And you know, testing is crucial, just like every other, you know, consumer product.
You know, to your point, Todd, OG Grandma 420 in the chat, it says clean bricks of Mexican available. Oh man, that's so good. Well, this was fun. We're gonna roll into our next story. Congratulations, Michigan. Hopefully, you guys get some tax relief. And we're pulling for you all the way on that. We'll be right back.
Sale and in the production of cannabis, you use the metric system, right?
We are back.
But in the stores, you buy it by eighths and quarters.
Hey, you know, it's because of food grade labeling, and you know what I'm saying, consumable products uses that system, Todd. You know, like when you go, you know, very very rarely do you go and find products that say, oh, you know, 1 kilo of CNH sugar, it'll be sold in a pound. That's
I hear you.
Yeah, that's why.
I hear you. But I just find it interesting that in the rules, even in cannabis production, you know, they make the limit of a extract, you know, 1 kilo.
Yeah.
But they sell pounds of weed, right? I don't know why they separated it.
I think they just want to make sure that we are better at math than everybody else, Todd. Because there's a lot of numbers involved in the cannabis trade, and they want to make sure that you're not fudging the numbers, Todd. So they do.
How many
that
grams to a pound?
Yeah, 453.597 something.
That's right.
Yeah,
very impressive.
Come on, Todd. I do this for reals and not for thrills, Todd.
No, I hear you. Me too. Yeah, It's funny.
Yeah, but we just generally round up to 454. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Well, Speaking of rounding up, man, I got another hot story for you guys, because a California startup once valued at $700 million sells for a shockingly low price, you guys. That's right. It's been a long 4 years for California's cannabis industry, with thousands of business closures and investor capital fleeing the state's legal market. But this frigid financial winter may finally be thawing. Maybe it's because of Schedule 3 announcement, but who knows? We'll see. A string of new investment deals has been announced in recent weeks, and analysts are saying California's legal market could see a further surge of investor cash this year. In December, Vireo Growth Incorporated bought the cannabis delivery company Ease, once dubbed the Uber of weed, for $47 million. And California cannabis brand Stizzy purchased a retail competitor for $25 million in a receivership sale just a few weeks before. And on Tuesday, California's largest cannabis distributor, Nabis, announced it had also purchased a competitor in a $13 million deal. Morgan Paxia, co-founder and managing director of Poseidon Investment Management, a venture capital firm specializing in cannabis that was not involved in those three deals, said President Donald J. Trump's move last month to reform federal cannabis law has made California's market more attractive to investors that had long fled the state. In a quote, "All of a sudden, California doesn't look so bad. It's ripe for consideration, and it's starting to happen," Paxia said. Stizzy got a really big jump on it. The Ease deal marks a muted end to what has been one of the more controversial cannabis companies in California's market. Ease was once valued at $700 million, but faced years of problems, including an executive pleading guilty in 2021 to a $100 million bank fraud scheme. And the company merged with another firm back in 2021, which expanded its operations to Florida and Colorado. Last year, Ease was foreclosed on by a company linked to a billionaire tech investor, James Henry Clark. And with Clark then buying Ease outright for $54 million at an auction in August. Clark has now sold the company to Vireo Growth Incorporated, a publicly traded cannabis conglomerate that has operations in 10 states. CEO Corey Azzolino said in an email to SF Gate that there won't be any customer-facing changes to the company's California operations. The all-stock deal, that means no cash, you guys, includes the assets in California as well as Florida and Colorado, with California's assets being worth about 25% of the company, according to Paxia. He said based on previous disclosures that Clark likely lost money on the deal. Well, of course he lost money on the deal because he got all stock. Seth Yakatan, a cannabis investor active in mergers and acquisitions, who said he once had equity in Ease but lost it during 2024's foreclosure, said he was shocked by how low the company sold for. In a quote, "This dropped on a Monday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and I didn't have my glasses on when I read it. I thought it was $420 million, not $42 million. I was surprised by the number," Yakatan said. Yakatan said despite the low price, the deal was still a signal for some optimism for the future of California's market. The flurry of activity comes after President Donald J. Trump directed his government in December to reschedule cannabis, a federal regulatory change that would slash billions of dollars in taxes for legal cannabis businesses. And Paxia said more deals will likely be announced in the coming months as businesses anticipate Trump's rescheduling of cannabis to take effect. And when exactly that will happen remains unclear. The president's executive order merely directed the Justice Department to reschedule the drug in the most expeditious manner possible, but the rescheduling could face court challenges. I'm not buying that one, but whatever. But still, the idea of it already seems to be having a positive effect for businesses. Nabis's California largest cannabis distributor directly referenced rescheduling when it announced its new acquisition Tuesday, calling the federal action a generational regulatory win in a news release. And the company received new assets worth $13 million after it acquired the distributor Humble Cannabis Solutions. The deal includes both the distributor's assets and brand connections, which will grow the reach of Nabis as well as cash and debt financing. Paxia said he expects to see more. She's a she. I don't know. Why did they say that? Paxia, she expects to see more consolidation as companies try to use whatever capital they have to grow larger and more resilient to the high regulatory costs of operating in the state. And in a final quote, California just makes it so hard to be a small operator profitably, so it just makes sense for you to consolidate, Paxia said. Well, look at that ease. Selling for no cash, $42 million in stock, you guys. What? And they're calling it, and the speculators are calling it a good deal, an optimism from $700 million cash valuation. What do you guys got to say about this?
Well, clearly it was never worth $700 million, right? And it's a clear example of the overvaluation of publicly traded cannabis companies. All of that's starting to level out a little bit, but this is a clear example of somebody way overvaluating their company and their business, and it's $700 million. Stupid. It's just,
but they were a tech company. They weren't a plant touching entity, Todd. They were a tech company.
They were a delivery service. They're not a tech company. They're a delivery service they've has always logistical software that
they have always marketed themselves as not a plant touching company, as a tech company. They have always marketed themselves, and they've raised capital based off of those definitions.
So they did, but didn't they also own Green Dragon in Colorado, here in Florida as well? That's my understanding.
I think that was the acquisition that they purchased that got them into Colorado and Florida. That would be correct, Michael. But that happened just a few years ago. That wasn't,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And then they, as a result of that, right, they also did a reconsolidation about a year ago, I want to say, wherein the Green Dragon defaulted on their loans. The owners, the original investors, then went and kind of consumed it.
Well, yes, that was the billionaire guy that was referenced in the article. That was.
I think it's interesting. Yeah. So I've kind of been watching around them for a couple years now, especially with their Green Dragon acquisition here in Florida. So, I think it's interesting at that price point, right? If you're saying it's $42 million, licenses here, even without a dispensaries, people are still trying to throw them out for, $20 million. So I think it's a very interesting transaction there.
And mind you, Michael, the thing about it too is that, Ease doesn't have any licenses in California. They never had any licenses. Right. They partner with people that have licenses and use their tech, and that's how they were able to expand in such a rapid base and be able to get these investors to feel that they're investing in a tech company and not a cannabis company because they don't hold any licenses and da 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 da. And that's how they even got in a fight for a while with the DCC, where they were arguing that they weren't subject to their rules because they were just a tech platform and not an actual license holder in the state of California. That was happening for a while too. We covered all that here at High 9 News back in the day.
Yep. So I think it's an interesting valuation, but I think Todd, hit it on the head that these companies have been for so long so overvalued out there as far as sales. These new licenses that come up in each state after state always come, or the next golden ticket and just become so overvalued. I think last time I heard they're looking dispensaries in Kentucky or even are going for like $8 million or something.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of hype in Kentucky right now. It's a brand new fertile market. So everybody's like, oh, that's so great. Da, 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 da. Todd,
what we end up seeing is those markets
with poverty.
Right, and we don't see those. We see time and time again those fertile markets end up, being a mess unless you get the license at cost. Honestly.
Yep. Todd, I have a question because you've had a number of different successful exits over the years.
Yeah.
If you went from a $700 million valuation and sold for a $42 million valuation in all stock and no paper, would you really be happy with that?
Well, the board of directors wouldn't be too happy. That's for sure. You know what I mean? Take a $650 million loss.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a big number, and again, as an investor, you have to look at that like, what the fuck did these guys do with all my money? Right? I mean,
Right.
That's how these guys have to look at this shit. And the CEO and the chairman of the board have to answer to all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And they do. I mean, the first responsibility of the CEO is to the shareholder.
Yeah.
Right.
So the next question is, Todd, do they get to write off $658 million on their taxes as a loss since they just got reevaluated at $42 million in stock?
I believe that is going to be their plan.
I would think
with
so.
280E in effect, there's no bankruptcy laws.
Yeah.
There's no, 280E is in place. So I'm not sure that all of that is going to come to fruition this year. So they may be able to, or may not be able to claim. I
think Ease would have been a lot better off if they would just stayed in the auspice of saying that they're a tech platform, and then maybe created a sub company for the purchase of Green Dragon. So then that way they could have had like a separate sub plant touching company instead of the company that owned the tech, and then that way they could have licensed their tech out to Green Dragon. And they could have still raised money off of being a tech company and everything. Instead now, when they purchased Green Dragon, they're 100% a cannabis company with plant touching.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Or maybe they could have operated it better. Right.
Yeah, I think that's potentially it. But I would assume that they definitely kept the companies separate or / Green Dragon or was purchased by Ease. So Ease, the company, was a shareholder of Green Dragon, but otherwise they were probably a parent company and a subsidiary, I would assume. It wouldn't make really any sense to do it any other way.
Interesting. Well,
I wouldn't recommend it, but
interesting. On that,
or set up a parent company that owns both of them. Those are really two choices.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll continue to follow this and see what happens. But for now, $42 million, all stock. Sounds like
So they have wallpaper.
Exactly, Dale. Oh, exactly, Todd. You're so right about that.
$42 million worth of wallpaper.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. You could definitely start plenty of fires with that, Todd. It's all just gonna go up in smoke. Poof, be gone. And on that, we're going to roll right into Mr. Michael Minardi. Michael Minardi is an attorney in the great red state of Florida who's been helping cannabis businesses, hemp companies, and just your average citizen navigate the complex laws, law enforcement, and regulatory aspects out in the great red state of Florida. You can find him at his own law office at Minardi Law. It is none other than Mr. Michael Minardi.
Good morning to everyone on the West Coast, and happy high noon to everyone on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to everybody. I haven't seen everyone since last year. Hope everyone had an awesome and wonderful celebration and ready to kick ass in 2026. So, the political industry is at it again. Marijuana Industry Political Committee gave another $1.05 million to Trump's super PAC ahead of rescheduling order FEC filings show. The political committee, founded by major marijuana businesses, has contributed an additional $1.05 million to President Trump MAGA Inc. Super PAC in the months leading up to his rescheduling order FEC filing show. The Americans' Rights and Reform Acts, which initially launched in 2023 under a different legal name, Legalize America, and lists an executive at the marijuana company Curaleaf as its treasurer, gave $1 million to the president's political committee in July, and then another $50,000 in November. That raises the PAC's contribution to MAGA Inc. to $2.05 million, after cannabis business helped contribute an initial $1 million in the first half of the year. The latest donation came about a month before Trump signed an executive order directing the AG to expeditiously complete the process of moving cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substance Act. The FEC reports don't indicate a purpose for the contributions, but the American Rights and Reform PAC has been active in pushing its for the incremental reform. For example, the committee released ads in March attacking former President Joe Biden's cannabis policy record, as well as the nation of Canada promoting sometimes misleading claims about the last administration, while making the case that Trump can deliver on reform. This is an American first fight, one ad said. President Trump had the courage to sign the Right to Try Act, healing America patients. Let's do it again. Reschedule cannabis and put America first. It seemed apparent that ads were intended to appeal directly to Trump, who has historically been driven by a desire to overshadow his political opponents and present himself as a champion for the American enterprise. Marijuana Moment reached out to the PAC for comment about the latest contributions, but a representative was not available. Curaleaf, whose Vice President of Government Affairs, Matt Harrell, is listed as the Treasurer of American Rights and Reform PAC, has also previously sought to gain Trump's favor by donating $250,000 to his inaugural committee, with a contribution filtered through a leading cannabis industry association. Meanwhile, an agricultural-focused conservative nonprofit connected to a PAC linked to the president is applauding his rescheduling order, arguing it will destroy the illicit market and support seniors and military veterans who could benefit from cannabis. America First Agriculture Inc., a group affiliated with a PAC of a similar name that previously urged Trump to follow through on a campaign pledge to reschedule marijuana, said in a new ad that the president promised to put America first, and his word is as good as gold. The Justice Department is not given a timeline for when a rescheduling decision might happen, and congressional researchers pointed that it's possible the agency could start the process over again or decline to move forward altogether. Notably, the organization behind the ad is associated with the similarly same name America First Agricultural Action Inc., a PAC that lists Charles Gant as its treasurer. Gant is also the treasurer of MAGA Inc. So, the money is pouring in, and we know that's how we get change in politics. So, regardless of what you feel about these big companies and the big industries, we know for a fact that the only way to move the needle in American politics is by donating money to these politicians so that they have a reason to do so.
Oh,
you guys think?
Man,
No, that's the
go for it,
disgusting
Todd.
part of our political system, for sure.
I kind of enjoy it. Because then you can see, you know what I'm saying? You can see everyone's, the sponsors, you know what I mean? Like who's, you know what I'm saying? Who's doing what?
I think
there's transparency.
I'm sure you've seen
Todd.
that meme on the internet where executives have to wear, or politicians should dress like
like
NASCAR.
Yeah. I'm down with that. I'm totally down with that. You know what I mean? Patches on their suits. You know what I mean? Maybe like some fancy ties. You know what I'm saying? Ties. You get the ties.
That's just not how our system was designed, but it's how it ended up. So
I'm not terribly. You know what I'm saying? I'm not terribly mad at it because there is that transparency. There's plenty of disclosures. I do find it interesting that he is the treasurer for both of those for both of those PACs, though, Michael.
Yep. That is very interesting. Mm-hmm. And, you said disclosure, but it's the things that they put out in public that they disclose. It's all the things that they're in the shady deals they're doing behind the doors that they don't disclose that causes the money in politics issue. It should be it's got to be reformed in some way. Now it's absolutely disgusting.
Michael, we were having a conversation yesterday about Schedule 3. And I'm fairly convinced at this point now that they are going to create a new carve out. You know how they have, how hemp and cannabis is the same thing, because in the Controlled Substances Act, it's all listed as cannabis sativa L. So I think they're going to make make another new definition of that same carve out for just medical cannabis.
So, and they could do it exactly like Florida did, right? So that's what Florida does. So they would, I think, in some ways have to, recognize that. And so Florida says cannabis includes, any and all parts of the plant, blah, blah, blah definition, but it doesn't include, medical marijuana produced pursuant to 381.986, our medical marijuana law, or the hemp statutes.
Exactly.
So I don't think that would be difficult for them to do so, to keep it at a criminal level for recreational purposes.
I think that's exactly how we're going to see this play out. I think, and then that is exactly what I was saying too, is like, hey, unless you're, up on your medical sales, you're not going to experience the benefits of 280E unless, you're a medical state, which is going to benefit all of the dispensaries in Florida. So then that brings me up to my follow up as why Curaleaf would put this money in is I think that ultimately that they're putting that money in is because they're going to be pushing for descheduling with the hemp bill, with the new hemp bill that's going to come out sometime later this year. Yeah. Because they've invested so much in hemp in so many different markets like that's really been their big hedge.
So if you notice though, Curaleaf said 2 weeks ago or after they signed that budget bill that they were getting out of the hemp space.
Yeah, but
so
that's
they
optics.
affirmatively had made that. I think your scenario would definitely play through, but for the fact that if it is Curaleaf and companies potentially like Trulieve who are putting so much money into this ballot initiative in Florida, I think they are definitely going to be pushing for some sort of reprieve on the recreational level as well. And I think that they will, like you said, I think that may be part of the new descheduling aspect of it, because I can't imagine them putting these millions of dollars into there and then putting $100 million into, trying to get legalization in Florida, knowing that they're going to be the same position and not be able to have those potential deductions.
But this new money we haven't seen ever since the Schedule 3 announcement. We haven't seen any money going into the adult use measure that we all know is going to fail in Florida during a midterm election. Okay.
I don't know about that. They are still collecting signatures, so they think they have the millions, so they probably wouldn't need any more funds. And then they're obviously filed a lawsuit against
they did do that.
Certain different agencies for trying to withhold their petitions. So I don't think so. They're full go on that and guaranteed. They're going to be putting the money in to get the ads out to get legalization passed here in Florida in 2026.
I think they're going to just call their losses and just focus on medical and get this 280E thing done for the medical and focus on that. I mean, if you look at all of the states that Trulieve is in, majority of them all are medical states. Medical only states currently, and so they would stand to be some of the biggest beneficiaries overall of that type of a policy, and we all know that they've put more money into it than pretty much anybody else.
Yeah, I don't think it fails in comparison.
What's that, Todd?
Sorry, go Todd.
Well, I was just going to say, first of all, the fact that there's a line separates medical cannabis from recreational cannabis is just the most ridiculous thing that we ever talk about on this show.
I don't think so.
It is the same. It is the same. It is all the same. And whether you're smoking for medical reasons or you're smoking or ingesting for recreational reasons, you still get the medical benefits.
All use is medical use. I agree with that, Todd. All use is medical use, but we're talking about definitions.
Cannabis is medical use. Exactly. So all of this positioning on, it's only good for the medical patients is just politics, right? It's just the dumbest thing ever. Yeah, but the fact that there's this, this war on recreational cannabis because Ron DeSantis doesn't like the smell, right? Is just ridiculous. So the smell is okay if you're on a hospital ground, but it's not okay if you're, in your apartment, right?
I think it's more that it's. I think it's more that it's
stupid.
I think it's more.
It's a typical case of politicking instead of really delivering the will of the people.
I think it's because it's more palatable if they know that it's helping someone with a critical need that they can palate the smell at that point.
No, the pot industry definitely used the fact that it was medical to get it legalized. For sure.
And Todd,
right? That was, the path that they had to go in order to get the uptight conservative Republicans to vote for it.
And at the same time, too, Todd, I think that we definitely need to make this medical distinction, because if you look at history, the prices were way better when it was all medical. And I'm all about make medical great again, Todd. And I think this is how we do it.
Listen, the bottom line, it's a friggin' plant, and our government should have zero right to regulate this plant at all. It's honestly, this drug war is disgusting. It's gotten even more disgusting under Trump. And it's got to go. The drug war has got to end, and there has to be a totally new system put into place to allow legalization, regulation, and adults to be adults and be able to do what the fuck they want.
Yeah, fair enough.
Agreed.
Fair enough. Well, I'm just telling you, I think there's going to be a carve out for just medical, and that's how those people are.
Well,
people need to start. People need to
just
start
silly, because people who aren't sick, they go to a fake doctor. They get a recommendation.
They're real doctors.
$100 or $200.
$35.
It's just another step to go buy weed. It's just stupid.
I mean, but here's the deal, and Michael, you weren't here yesterday for us to discuss this. There was the Supreme Court case. They decided that they're going to have these arguments happen in March.
Yep.
And I think, I don't know, but because of the fact that the Justice Department is using their whole arguments around the fact of saying why Americans shouldn't be able to purchase guns that smoke cannabis is because it's a Schedule I drug, and now it's going to Schedule III before January. That has to shift their whole argument. So I think they have to make this medical carve out, so then at least medical patients could still own guns, and then they could still say that the rest of it is a Schedule I drug, and those people shouldn't be allowed to have it. Otherwise, it's going to tank their whole argument before they even get to court. It might even get dismissed before then.
Well, I would have to say that's inaccurate, in that technically the standard that has been created is they have to show that this is something that the founding fathers would have taken weapons away from people.
They can't do that.
So I don't really think that the scheduling of it currently or now is really relevant to that case.
The reason why I say it's relevant is because the DOJ has already said that is the basis of their arguments of why is because it's a Schedule I substance. That's the whole basis of their whole argument. That's my point. Like they've already came out and said that.
Well, as it's been, rejected time and time again, and the Supreme Court has been very, very clear. And so maybe that is part of their argument, but it doesn't satisfy.
It's definitely not going to
analysis.
Yes,
that the Supreme Court put into effect in Braun.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, honestly, the argument to me sounds just as stupid as the argument that
I'm with you.
The Hillsborough County is making in our case. They're basically saying the same thing in the employee rights case. So, and this is one of the areas that I think that it'll clearly clear up. It'll clear up when it does move to Schedule III, that argument will no longer be available to these companies and the DOJ to make that argument. But, it again becomes exactly what Todd said. These are the exact same plant. Mm-hmm. Like, regardless of whether these were recreational or medical, it's the same plant.
Hemp.
And I have prosecutors all the time be like, well, just like hemp and cannabis is the same plant. It's like, oh, well, it's not medical grade. I'm like, you think the weed
it's
you
not
get on
medical
the
grade. I love when they say that. Oh man, I so love when they say that.
Tomato.
Yeah. I hate that term, medical grade. What does that even mean?
I love it. I think it's great. I love that term, medical grade.
It's stupid, though. It's just a marketing term. It has nothing to do with what you're buying or selling.
But it's medical grade, right. Todd. It's medical grade.
What? Well,
which means
what makes it medical grade? You saying it's medical grade?
100, just right? Like to say.
Is there a scale?
Yeah, we already went over this, Todd. When we were talking about the street dealers, like it's organic, bro. It's totally clean. My buddy grew this. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's so great.
All organic means, bro. All organic means is that you feed it with shit, right? And
Right.
That's what organic means. So if that doesn't mean it's clean, that doesn't mean there's no pesticides. That doesn't mean, there's no microbial contamination. It only means that you feed it with shit, natural shit.
And on that, we're going to roll into our next commercial, and we are going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's Joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
Adderall.
Yes, and we're back. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. And please remember that if you cannot find us here on YouTube, you can always find us on X and Rumble. So please make sure that you are following us on X and Rumble because, things could change and we have absolutely zero control over it, but we do love being here on YouTube, and so we do enjoy you. But just please remember to share, subscribe to us on X and Rumble. The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated. All of that. All that superhumanisms, Dale. I have all of them. Or Todd, I have all of them. I don't know why I keep doing that today. So
did you get that? Did you get all that superhuman stuff because of your lack of talent in politics?
No, my political game is superhuman also, Todd. It's out of this world, man. You should see some of the things I've been talking about. But nonetheless, we're going to roll right into the golden voice himself, Mr. Todd Denkin, the golden voice in the Silver State, because Todd is also a creative storyteller, a Telly Award-winning director, producer with over 35 years of extensive experience in television and film production. He's been a featured expert on various cannabis panels, TV shows, and news programs, and he has been interviewed and quoted in numerous blogs, newspapers, and magazines, and co-authored the book Money Matters. You know why? Because money does matter, no matter what people say. Yeah. And Todd now hosts Becoming the King of Pot on YouTube and other streaming platforms. It is none other than the golden voice himself, Mr. Todd Denkin.
And the crowd goes wild. Probably not. Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. And happy high at 9 over here on the West Coast. And I hope everyone's having a good lunch over there on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And listening to the show. Well, my story about everybody's least favorite senator, as a GOP senator calls marijuana a gateway drug as he opposes Trump's move to change its classification. That's right. A Republican senator is standing by his belief that marijuana is a gateway drug, openly opposing President Donald Jennifer Trump's recent order to change how cannabis is classified under federal law. Asked about Trump's direction to move marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substance Act, Senator Rick Scott, a Republican from Florida, known for the largest healthcare fraud case in history, where his company, Columbia HCA, pleaded guilty to 14 corporate felonies and agreed to pay more than $1.7 billion in fines and penalties and settlements back in 2000 and 2002. Oh, and by the way, then he used his $300 million severance package to fund his own political campaigns. Well, he says that his opposition comes partly from personal experience. His brother died from what he calls a lifetime of alcohol and drugs. Despite this, Scott acknowledged that he understands the use of medical marijuana, which Florida voters approved through a constitutional amendment in 2016. Scott, who was previously Florida's governor, also pointed out that a recent attempt to legalize recreational marijuana in the state failed to reach the required 60% approval, even though it did win a majority. When pressed on whether increased research might change his mind, Scott responded, "Why don't we just do the research?" He has joined the other GOP lawmakers in sending a letter urging the Trump administration to abandon its proposed rescheduling of marijuana. Leading up to a vote on Florida's adult use initiative, which passed with a simple majority but not enough to become law, Scott promised to strongly oppose the measure. Activists behind the campaign are trying again for another ballot push, but face setbacks due to court challenges and invalidated signatures. Nationally, most American voters across age, race, gender, and party lines support marijuana legalization, according to a new Daily Mail poll released after the civilly convicted raper and felon Donnie Trump signed the executive order. This result aligns with bipartisan trends towards supporting a reform, although YouGov survey showed Republicans evenly split, 41% for and 41% against broader legalization. Biden administration first started the process to reschedule marijuana, which Trump now wants to move forward in order to distract from the Epstein files, but it is still under review. Congressional researchers have noted that the Justice Department could restart or even halt the process entirely. However, as previous poll shows, such reform remained popular with voters from both parties. The Orange president said that cannabis can help people feel better and may serve as an alternative to highly addictive opioid painkillers. He clarified he does not personally use marijuana, as he prefers Adderall and Big Macs, allegedly. He also brushed off concerns from GOP lawmakers opposed to rescheduling, citing widespread support and pointing out that cannabis has helped friends dealing with serious health problems. Like he has friends, right? I'm Todd Denkin with High News, and what do you guys think of Rick Scott's attempt to once again claim cannabis as a gateway drug? I think the cannabis industry needs to go buy Rick Scott and get his endorsement.
Well, you're not going to get that. I mean, Rick Scott, owns a number of different treatment centers. And so until cannabis is an approved treatment for addiction and alcohol and drug dependency and whatnot, you're not going to really get him on the bandwagon on that coming out like this. And I imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, I mean, you are right there in the great red state of Florida. I think that the reason that they had him do this is because he is a well-respected senator in Florida, and that he will
He's a criminal.
No, he will get the least amount of pushback, or his comments will just kind of get brushed under the rug by the administration, as opposed to Thomas Massey right now, so to say.
Why?
Well, you're on mute, Michael. You're on mute.
Oh, why? Why are you saying that? Why do you believe that?
I want to hear what Michael has to say first, and I'm more than happy to go into why I believe that.
I would say that he is right. Scott is
Look at that.
a very much loved Republican here in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Despite, and that could be the gerrymandering or however they created the lines here that were deemed constitutional.
They got the best lines in Florida.
The rest of the people obviously hate him, but he is loved, and it's a very highly controlled Republican state, which is given us some great freedoms, but also been extremely restrictive in so many others, and this is one of them. I've had the pleasure during the old school national. NCIA lobbying days to have gotten to meet with Scott and mostly his staff during those issues, and he absolutely has no favor for it. So I'm not surprised, especially when there were so many strong Republicans in the state legislature that came out in favor of the amendment last year.
Yeah. So
he doesn't like it because he hasn't figured a way to scam the industry the way he scammed Medicaid. For billions of dollars.
Oh boy.
Well, I believe he denied, the railway, I forget the hell it's called, the Sunrail or whatever it's called, when he was governor. But my understanding, it's obviously being built in Florida. There's one from Orlando to Miami. They're going to build another one from Orlando to Tampa. He is an owner of that company now.
Is this the same bullet train that we have in California, but for Florida, Michael? The train to nowhere.
I don't know about trains to nowhere.
Orlando to Miami and Orlando to Tampa.
Yeah, it does go to Orlando to Miami and then to Tampa. But the thing was, he didn't do it when he was governor, and then he seemingly is. We all know now that he's an owner of one of the companies that they're building it. So
maybe he didn't want to do it when he was governor because he didn't want to have.
That's awesome. The way he uses his
political
pull.
I think I understand why.
Business. And why don't you guys care that he ripped off Medicaid for billions of dollars? That's just no big deal to you guys.
What, did he pled the Fifth Amendment like over 80 or
75 times?
Something times?
Yeah.
And no, why would anyone care about that? It was because he didn't know, so he had to, plead the Fifth Amendment as opposed to I don't know. So come on, it makes sense. Why? Wouldn't anyone do that if they didn't want to get arrested?
Why you guys love criminals so much? It's so strange.
Just to be clear, I am being extremely sarcastic with this one, young man.
Yeah, I know that, but it's still real.
But Beck definitely loves them.
I do like Rick Scott. I've had a number of really good conversations with him. I'm friends with a number of people in his office. I have a good relationship with the guy.
So it's okay.
I think all
that
politicians
he's a criminal?
are criminals.
It's okay that he's ripped all those people off?
I don't think that's okay. I do not think that's okay. Just like I don't think that it's okay.
But why do you give him a pass?
This is the whole thing, bro, is that I'm only one person, Todd, and unless there's the momentum of the general public consensus to push back on this, I'm only one person.
Go with the crowd. You just go with the crowd.
There's so many battles to fight every day, Todd, that you have to pick your battles. And right now, I'm choosing to fight the Somali battle in Minnesota.
And Todd, doesn't anyone who
you like when poor people break the law? Right? You don't like when rich. You're okay with rich people breaking the law.
No, Todd.
Well, Republicans, I think, are okay to break the law, but not the Democrats.
Stop! No, it's not okay. That's not okay. No, that's not okay. Stop it! Stop it, you guys.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
I love how you guys want to throw words in my mouth. That's cute.
The bottom line is, all of our politicians are corrupt in some way or another. And they're all doing backdoor deals to benefit themselves and their family, and I believe that 1,000,000%.
I think that's a fair. I think that's fair criticism.
Why do we put up with that? And why do we joke about it, laugh about it, and go, "Oh, that's the way it is," instead of doing shit about it?
Well, what do you intend to do?
We're so conditioned to just accept our political system that it's based on bribes and based on corruption.
Todd,
right? We're just
put a plan together. Put a plan together of something to do that can be effective, and I'm happy to look at it.
Here we go. Get rid of lobbying and enforce term limits.
I know. I'm just so you know.
Put it back to where I know you disagree about term limits.
I'm not in favor of either of those. I'm not in favor of either of those because you're talking about eliminating me. I'm a lobbyist. You're talking about eliminating me. I'm not for the elimination of myself.
All a lobbyist is a legal bribery ring. That's
not at all, bro. Not at all. Not even close. That's a gross over exaggeration.
I agree that it is a channel for them to bribe them, but I also do agree that lobbying and good lobbyists provide valuable information to our legislators who otherwise aren't going to get off their ass and do anything. So if you don't spoon feed them, they're not going to have any information. So I do believe, lobbyists are beneficial, but for the corruption and the super PAC money and the backdoor deals and things of that nature that unfortunately comes with it in our political system.
Fair. Well said, Michael.
I'm with you on that.
Well said.
And believe me, Todd, I tried to run in 2020, and it's definitely hard to run on, caring and compassion and doing the right thing. It just doesn't seem to work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't. You know why? Because the voters don't care about that, Todd.
Our system fact that our system is based on you need several $1 million so you can buy some media, go to put some commercials on TV so people know who the fuck you are, that if you can't raise several $1 million to do that, you can't run. It's just not how the system was designed, but it's how Congress has created it for themselves. That's what's happening.
And honestly, when you go into an election, they grade the candidates by how much money they have in their coffers,
how much money they can raise. That's right.
So it's
the whole thing is, what can you do for our party? Can you bring in 10 million? Can you bring in 20 million? It's just we need an implosion. Is what we need. We need to end lobbying, and we need to enforce term limits, and that brings our political system back to how it was designed, where we don't have career congressmen and career senators, right? They come in, they work for 4 to 6 years, and then they go back to their life. That's how it was designed.
Yep. Well, the thing about it, Todd, I don't support term limits, because once I have a relationship in politics, I want to keep that relationship there as long as humanly possible.
Yep.
And I want that relationship to grow.
It's not how it's supposed to work.
That is how it's supposed to work.
It's not supposed to.
That is.
You're not supposed to be able to get political favors. And it's supposed to be a vote. And it's supposed to be, convince me of your point of view, and then maybe I'll vote your way. That's how it's designed.
Well, that's all district. That's all district stuff.
That's what it's become.
That's why they say politics is local, because you people vote within their district. There's only one office in the entire nation that everyone votes on, and that's the presidency, and that's it. And that's why we need to eliminate the 22nd Amendment, to let the will of the people be heard. And on that, we're going to roll into our final commercial, and we'll be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, I left one, and I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBD? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade. And in a GMP certified facility, so you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where will I even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Test it. It's not a name, it's a promise.
The mainstream media. That's what we need to get rid of. The mainstream media.
Oh yeah,
because they're the ones. They're the ones that plan
right-wing media.
Plant all the seeds in everyone's. No, we need independent media. We need independent media. We just need independent channels like this and other.
The internet is independent media.
And thank God for smart TVs. Thank God for smart TVs. Oh man, if you guys heard some of our conversations behind the scenes, you guys would love this. Oh man. But nonetheless, I have 2 more stories for you guys. All right.
We were just closing on time. Look at this.
That's cute, Todd. Cute. But Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission approves new emergency regulations and a cultivator license, you guys. That's right. The Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission approved a new round of emergency regulations on Monday night. That was last night. And Nebraska voters approved medical marijuana in the November 2024 election. But commissioners also approved one cultivator license during their meeting. They are still tweaking some of the rules regarding applications for the supply process. And Nebraska's medical cannabis program is one of the most restrictive in the country, and advocates spoke at regular meetings urging the commission to help those who need it. In a quote, "I have one young lady at the age of 29 that is unable to work because she suffers from seizures," and said Malini Knight. "When she uses medical cannabis, those seizures go away. And the commission said the new emergency regulations will go into effect as soon as Nebraska Governor Jim Pullen signs them, and commissioners will also hold a second hearing on the new rules. They also voted to create a standalone website. Currently, information for the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission is listed on the Nebraska's Liquor Control Commission website, you guys. I find it interesting that they said that they passed all these new rules, but this article didn't cover what any of these new rules are. So how are we really supposed to talk about this, you guys? These people need to be better journalists. And what do you guys have to say about this?
I'm all for better.
Exactly that.
For sure.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, they talk about that they approved one cultivation license and they approved new rules, but they don't mention what any of the new rules are. How are we supposed to know what's going on in Nebraska? These reporters aren't reporting properly. I'm very disappointed with these Nebraska reporters.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. What's the point?
Yep, you said it.
I'm just saying.
Mainstream media because your president does.
Oh, mainstream media is the worst, bro. It's the worst. All of it is terrible. Both sides. The problem with
media is that it's for profit. See, this is another thing that we did and we changed and created this whole fake news bullshit.
Well, hold on, Todd.
Media for profit.
Hold on, Todd. If we didn't have media for profit, there'd be no OnlyFans. Just saying, Todd. Just saying. Just. Is
that where you spend most of your days?
Oh, no. I spend most of my days at work and getting things done. You know what I'm saying? Working for the people. Weed for the people. You know what I'm saying?
Working for the man.
Yeah, exactly.
Working for the people.
Right.
Mm-hmm. For all the people.
I'm always working for the
That's
people.
That's right. All the people, bro. Lots of people I got to do things for, Todd. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Yeah, all the people. All the people. Well.
Oh, you a funny guy.
I try, Todd. I try to be entertaining as much as I can. You know what I mean? Someone has to entertain. We can't all just have golden voices, Todd.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can entertain while we educate, and we have a win.
That's what we do here every day here at High at 9 News, Todd. That's what we do. Speaking of education, I have some more education for you guys. Because the OK Bureau of Narcotics reports shocking statistics on Oklahoma's marijuana trafficking, you guys. Sound the alarms. Because the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics, better known as the OBN, revealed startling statistics about the trafficking of illegal marijuana from Oklahoma to other states, you guys. That's right. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. In a quote, they say, just about every other state in the United States at some point was receiving large amounts, semi-trucks of black market marijuana that was grown in Oklahoma, said Mark Woodward with the OBN. Since Oklahoma voters made medical marijuana legal in 2018, the OBN says law enforcement agencies in other states have alleged that at one point 40% of America's black market marijuana came from here. Not from Glass House, but from Oklahoma. In a quote, they say, from 2023 to 2024, in a 12-month period, there were 87 million pounds of cannabis that were tagged in metric, and only 1.9 million were actually sold. So you're talking about over 85 million pounds that's unaccounted for, Woodward said. However, the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority, better known as the OMMA, says it doesn't have that data to back up the OBN's claims. And the OBN says they use their own data from investigations and their numbers don't always match with what OMMA has to say. But Woodward noticed that recent shift in tracking trends, saying 20 years ago and 30 years ago, the majority of the marijuana was coming across the Mexican border by the cartels in Mexico that were growing it down there. But as states legalized it, those criminal groups from Mexico and now China moved their operations into the United States of America. Woodward added that the state's medical marijuana laws made it easy for criminal organizations to fly under the radar and appear to operate legally. And in a quote, the laws show that at least on the surface, there's no red flags. So that's why it can be very complex to find out for sure what they're doing, because these criminal groups are very good at hiding what they do. And they're not just involved in medical marijuana, said Woodward. Oklahoma Attorney General Genter Drummond also weighed in on the issue, saying
These trafficking of illegal marijuana from Oklahoma into Texas represents a serious threat to public safety in both states. Oklahoma has been a prime target for criminal organizations seeking to exploit our lax medical marijuana laws and flood the black market across state lines. Texas has been a primary destination for this illicit activity, and we've witnessed a significant influx of Texas gang members committing armed robberies at marijuana facilities in Oklahoma, then transporting the product back across state lines. And another factor is Oklahoma's location at the crossroads of I-35 and I-40, which makes our state a hub for drug trafficking activity. This cross-border criminal activity endangers communities on both sides of the Red River. But we aren't standing idle. Since I established in 2023 the Organized Crime Task Force, the first of its kind in Oklahoma Attorney General's office, we have been instrumental in shutting down more than 7,000 illegal operations, seized over 329,000 marijuana plants, and 152,000 pounds of processed marijuana, made 79 arrests, and filed 153 criminal cases. Those are a lot of big numbers compared to a lot of small numbers, but nonetheless. We will not allow Oklahoma to be used as a distribution hub for black market marijuana, and we will continue our aggressive enforcement until every illegal operation is eliminated and our communities are safe, said Oklahoma Attorney General Gentler Drummond. The OMMA has also tried to reduce licensing illegal operations on their end, and they said in a statement saying, since 2021, the OMMA has implemented multiple measures to combat straw ownership and significantly strengthen the licensing review process. Every application submitted undergoes a thorough evaluation to ensure compliance with state law. And through administrative actions and partnerships with local law enforcement, licensed operators who attempt to skirt the law and undermine Oklahoma's medical marijuana program are held accountable. Woodward says the OBN has successfully reduced marijuana grows in the state from 8,400 to about 1,500, and many of those remaining grow operations are still being investigated. In a quote, Woodward finally says, "There's also a lot of these farms that half of their plants are not tagged, and we'll never know exactly how much millions of pounds is leaving the state untaxed, untraceable, into the black market at the peak of this." Woodward says the OBN has successfully reduced marijuana grows in the state from 8,400 to about 1,500, and many of those remaining illegal grow operations are still being investigated. Oh, look at that, you guys. Look at that. Oklahoma.
Wild, wild west.
The wild west. Lots of tumbleweed flooding the streets. They claim that they're responsible for 40% of the nation's weed. That means that they're responsible for 40% of the weed in New York City and all these bodegas, and I'm not buying all of that.
New York City? Yeah, I think that's quite a claim that Oklahoma is responsible for 40% of the nation's weed.
Yeah, that's
so they've overtaken California's.
That's what I was thinking. You know? And they didn't even mention California at all in this. They said it was all from the cartels growing in Mexico before that. They didn't even mention California. I feel slighted in this article.
You should.
I do.
You really should. I mean, you guys have the #1 black market state. Got to be proud of that.
Exactly. That's my whole point.
The biggest backdoor deals in the country.
The biggest backdoor deals in all of the land. Yep.
Yes. In all of the land.
In all of the land.
Right.
Yes. What do you think about this, Michael? Oh, you're on mute, buddy. You're on mute. There we go. Yep.
Yeah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. These guys are just wasting law enforcement time and money, hoping they continue to have jobs and probably trying to forfeit as much crap as they can before the whole switch flips in this country.
Well, but Michael, what do you think about these numbers? All these seizures, all this you know, we just took all these thousands of plants, all these thousands of pounds, and but we only made like 70 something arrests. And we made 150 filed 150 cases in court. Those numbers to me don't add up. They don't quantify. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's an exaggerated, the sky is falling.
Mm-hmm.
All these people are bad actors and gangs and things like that. It just sounds absolutely ridiculous to me.
Well,
and the numbers,
Almost like
there's
the
no
Venezuela
way.
claim.
Well, that's real.
Right?
That's real.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that
100%.
Okay.
Right.
Trend Diagua is real.
Sure, it isn't. But yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And the same thing, law enforcement just trying to just scare people and create these insane amounts, like they're like too much that anyone could ever use. All the dispensaries in the country are have, at least in Florida, have no limit on how much they can grow, process, or anything. This is just a waste of time and resources in any state where people are struggling and suffering to feed themselves and to house themselves, and they're continuing to waste tax dollars on a fucking plant. It just, I don't know. I don't know how anybody can continue to put up with this.
It's crazy, right? It's super crazy. I mean,
talking about people are thriving in America. We have the hottest country around.
We do have the hottest country around. Yeah. $600 trillion in tariff revenue. You know what I'm saying? We are rolling right now.
600 trillion.
Oh, excuse me, 600 billion. 600 billion. 600 billion. Sorry.
600 trillion.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you get into the aliens,
paid by the American people and not by one foreign company.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing.
And that's why no one has to pay taxes in 2025.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming, bro. There's going to be no income tax. It's going to be no income tax. It's going to be so great. No income tax. They're going to outlaw property taxes. This is going to be great. I'm so here for this. I'm here
for it happening. I just don't see the reality of it.
It's coming, bro. It's coming. Just because you can't see the reality doesn't mean it's not there. It's on its way.
Is Christmas.
Christmas will be here in 2026.
Other programs.
Yep. In 11 months. In 11 months, Todd. Christmas will be here again. I promise. You can. I'll put money on it, Todd. Yes.
Yeah.
And on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst for helping us keep the lights on over here. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. And thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. And thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Gabriel. They're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show. Patented and trademarked.
Peace.
Yeah.